Hello everyone, welcome back to Reading for Vocabulary. I'm Brian Stewart. It's good to see you again. We're on Lesson 2 in Level D of Reading for Vocabulary. Do you remember in Lesson 1 we talked about a cool job? That's being an architect. Well, in Lesson 2, let's take a look at some amazing architecture. We're going to learn about famous architecture in the world. We can think of famous buildings or structures that were built in history and that we remember. Do you know some of them? Let's go through some of the wonders of the world, famous buildings and structures. For example, do you know this one? You probably do. If you've ever read about Egypt, especially ancient Egypt, you will know what these structures are. There's actually two. The first one here is the Great Pyramid of Giza. The Great Pyramid of Giza. Giza is a place in Egypt where there are many pyramids. And these, of course, are tombs where the dead kings or pharaohs of the Egyptians were put into these pyramids. And of course, the other famous structure is the Sphinx. The Sphinx, which is also very famous. Okay. The next one is, do you know this one? Of course, it's the Eiffel Tower. Eiffel Tower in Paris. France, whenever people think about France or think of pictures of France, and especially Paris, we usually think of the Eiffel Tower. It's a landmark. A landmark. Most of these buildings, the pyramids, the Sphinx, the Eiffel Tower, these are landmarks. In Seoul, what is a famous landmark? Of course, Namsan Tower, or now they call it Seoul Tower, right? So that is a famous landmark. You see it, you say, oh, I know where I am, and I know that this is famous for being in this city. So the Eiffel Tower is a famous landmark in Paris. Also, a very famous landmark in China, many people think about it, is the Great Wall, built a long, long time ago, hundreds of years ago, to keep the barbarians of the north out of China. The Great Wall of China, one of the biggest, most impressive pieces of architecture in the world. You can see it from space. Wow. Okay. The next one, the South Facade. The South Facade of the White House. So, in other words, if you look at the White House, if you think of Washington, D.C., the U.S. government, especially the president, then we instantly recognize this image because of the building. It's a unique style of building. And this, of course, is the south side. Facade is the south side of a building. And that's the front entrance, basically. Okay. Next, Machu Picchu. Have you heard of Machu Picchu? That name sounds kind of funny, right? That name sounds kind of cool. This is a very mysterious city. It's not just one building. It was a whole city built out of stone. All the people disappeared hundreds of years ago. We're still, archaeologists, scientists are still trying to figure out who were they? Why did they leave? What happened? We still don't know. It's very mysterious. And of course, this is in South America. It's Machu Picchu on the top of a high mountain. Okay. The last one here is the Taj Mahal in India. Maybe you've heard of this. This is a very famous symbol for love because a prince built this huge building because of his love for his lover, the woman that he loved. So he built this very beautiful building, and it still stands today, and it's a very big tourist attraction, and it's a symbol of love. The Taj Mahal in India. Okay, those are some examples of famous architecture in the world. Many of them are famous. I'm sure you've probably heard of them before. But let's take a look now at the vocabulary we're going to need in order to read the passage. The first word that we're going to talk about here is defined as a structure. A structure, some type of building, could be small, could be big. A structure we put dead people in. Sounds kind of funny, we put dead people in it. But of course, when somebody dies, you know, there's the question of what to do with the person's body after they've died, right? In some cases, they put them under the ground. They bury them underground. That would be a grave. Some people, they don't want their body to be put in the ground. They would want to be burned, right, by fire, and that's cremate, to cremate. This is a great subject, huh? Very exciting subject. But anyway, graves, cremate. But this is another way, another type of putting the dead body, and this is called a tomb. A tomb is usually above ground. It's a small building like this. It might have a door or it might not have a door, but sometimes it has a door. You go in and there are spaces for the different bodies. Usually a family, like an important or rich family, will have a tomb, and they put their the coffins, the bodies, in different spaces on the wall, and the relatives or the descendants can go and visit the ancestors. Okay, that's a tomb. Okay, next word is something we store things in. Of course, you probably have many of these. Your mom has many of these in the refrigerator. She keeps food in them. You store something in them. They're called containers. And nowadays, many containers are made of plastic. Of course, containers can be made of metal, of wood, of all sorts of different materials. But most containers today are made of plastic. And we store, we keep things in those containers. The next word is to pull over the ground. Now, they're just playing, but sometimes if you see a mom, the little boy or girl, they don't want to go, and mom's like pulling them along the ground. What's going on? She's dragging the kid on the ground, right? So it's kind of funny. To pull over the ground. Of course, they're just playing. Pipes that carry water and other liquids. So in a house, there are many pipes that carry hot water, that carry cold water. In a factory, pipes will carry lots of different types of liquids. What do we call those? We call that system of pipes plumbing. So really, it's not just the pipes, it's the system of pipes. If you think about your house, okay? If you think about your house, you have a kitchen sink, right? You have a toilet. Those are all different pipes for water coming in and water coming out. If there's a problem, you say, we have a problem with the plumbing. You need to call somebody over, a plumber, to fix it. Okay, next one. Whoa, this guy's rich, right? He's like Mr. Scrooge, but he has a lot of money. Having a lot of money, don't call him Scrooge. We can say he's rich, right? Scrooge is a specific meaning. It means somebody who doesn't like to spend money. But not all rich people are Scrooges. Some rich people like to spend their money, right? But just if you have a lot of money, you are rich, okay? But we can be rich in other things too. You can be rich in love. You can be rich in knowledge, right? So you can be rich in a lot of different things. Okay, next one. To make someone or something do what you want. It's like a puppet master, okay? A puppet is a little doll that you can control by strings. These would be the puppets, and he's the puppet master. But this word that we're looking for, the puppet master, controls the puppets. He controls. If you make somebody or something do what you want, you are controlling a person or a thing. Okay? So that's to control. Now, something made of many parts. Of course, a building is made of many different parts. Many machines are made of different parts. Look at your computer. It has many different parts inside of it. It is a structure. Even a computer can be a type of structure. A building, of course, is obviously a type of structure. It is something that is made of many different parts. It has many parts to it. Made by people. This is very famous. I think it's near Qatar or near Abu Dhabi in the Middle East. It's very famous. I forgot exactly where this was. But they made the islands like this, and then they put houses on them. Wow, it's really cool. So made by people, but it's not natural. That's the point here. You're not sailing your boat and you go, oh, look, the island looks like a palm tree. It's not natural. It didn't happen by nature. It happened because it was man-made. People designed it. They thought about it, they designed it, and they made it. It's man-made. Our experience, our life on earth now, we are surrounded by man-made things. 3,000 years ago, most of the world was natural. There weren't many man-made things. But nowadays, there are many man-made things. Cities, resorts, buildings, everything in your house, man-made. Okay. A large triangle-shaped building. So we talked about this before, right? It's a triangle. It means it has 3 sides, right? A triangle. And it's shaped like a triangle. Of course, what did we call it? I'm not talking about this, right? I'm talking about this here. A large triangle-shaped building is a pyramid. And I talked about that, right? We said the pyramids of Giza, right? Not the Sphinx. The Sphinx is separate. It's there. It's part of the architecture. But the pyramid is what we're talking about here. Triangle-shaped building. Now, to be around for a period of time. He looks so happy, doesn't he? Okay, so to be around for a period of time is to last, right? He's thinking, how long is this lesson going to last? I hope you're not thinking that. I hope this is exciting. But he is not very excited about the lesson. He has a himdoro job, right? He has to teach this young boy, maybe math or something like that. But how long is it going to last? How long will it be around? Will it be around for 1 week, 1 month, 100 years? How long will something last? How long will it last? Okay, next one. A building where people practice religion. So of course many people in the world are religious, and there are different religions. There are different buildings. One of those buildings is called a church. People who are Christian go to a church. People who are Jewish go to a temple or synagogue. People who are Muslim, they go to a mosque. Okay, so there are many different buildings where people practice religion. This one, we can see it's Christian because of the cross, so we call it a church. But different religions will call their buildings different names. This is for the Christian religion. Okay. A set of steps built between 2 floors. So if you have steps like this built between 2 floors, what can we call it? We can call it stairs. And notice the S, because there are many of them, right? So we always talk about it in the plural, because of course you have to have many stairs, not just one. If you had only one, there wouldn't be stairs, right? You'd have to jump up there. Can you jump that high? You can't. So we need a series. We need many steps. We need many stairs to go from one floor to the next floor. Stairs. Next one. A passage built underground. Of course, in Korea, you can find many of those. In Seoul, there are many of these. You know, Korea has many mountains. And the roads have to go, straight. But there's a mountain. So you need to make what through the mountain? You need to make a tunnel. So you make a tunnel through the mountain so the road doesn't have to go up, and around, and it takes too long. Just go straight through the mountain and make a tunnel. Okay. A large machine that moves dirt or rock. Okay? What is this machine? We call it a bulldozer. But to tell you the truth, this isn't actually a bulldozer. I actually worked at a company where there were many machines like this when I was in America. We call this actually a front end loader. Front end loader. A bulldozer has a big blade on the front, and it can move up and down, but it doesn't scoop up dirt. A bulldozer pushes dirt. So a bulldozer is one of those machines you see that pushes dirt in front of it. This is a front end loader. It's used for scooping up dirt and putting it into a big truck. But a large machine that moves dirt or rock, that would be a bulldozer. It just pushes it out of the way. Okay. Something that makes us wonder. A lot of the things that we saw before, like the pyramids of Giza, the Eiffel Tower, the Taj Mahal, when we see those, we go, wow, that's amazing. How did people build that, right? It makes us imagine what people a long time ago, how they lived, how they could do those types of things. Maybe not so much for the Eiffel Tower, but for the pyramids, sure. And also for this one, this is Stonehenge in England. Something that makes us wonder, we can call it a marvel. It is a marvel, right? And that's where the word marvelous comes from, right? O-U-S, by the way, means full of. So if something is full of marvel, it is full of wonder, right? It is marvel. It is a marvel. That's noun. Adjective, it is marvelous. You look marvelous. Okay? So for example. Okay, next one. To make objects by cutting wood or stone. So there are some types of artists that make works of art from wood or stone. What are they doing? They are carving. They carve the wood, they carve the stone to make beautiful, marvelous shapes. Okay, so they carve. You can carve soap. But be careful with the knife, right? Be careful. You can carve soap to make little statues, okay? But you can carve something to make a piece of art. Okay, now let's review the words we just learned. Let's see how well you remember that with an exercise. So let's take a look. Our instructions are here. Choose the word that best completes the sentence. So our words are here under each sentence, and we need to fill in the blank with one of these words. Number 1, Johnny, and an exclamation mark. So I have to say, Johnny, don't beep your blanket in the dirt. Think about little Johnny. He has a blanket, right? The blanket should be clean, but what is he doing? He's doing something, maybe he's walking, and the blanket is in the dirt. What's happening? Don't control your blanket in the dirt. That doesn't make sense. Don't Don't drag your blanket in the dirt. If you have a blanket, right, and you're not holding on to it like this, you just hold one end and the other end is on the ground and you're walking along, the blanket is dragging in the dirt and it's getting dirty. Mom doesn't like this. Don't do that, okay? So, don't drag your blanket in the dirt. Not don't run, that doesn't make sense. Don't cut your blanket in the dirt. Why would you cut your blanket? That doesn't make sense. The best answer is drag. Don't drag your blanket in the dirt. Mom doesn't like it. It gets very dirty. Okay, number 2. We need a beep for the rest of the food. So imagine this. You're eating lunch, right? But you're full. Pebula, right? I can't eat anymore, right? No more pebula. So you have, but there's food left. What are you going to do with it? You're going to throw it away? No! That's wasteful. You're going to store it and put it in the refrigerator. What do you put it in? We need something for the rest of the food. We need something to put the food in. What is it? A structure? A structure like a small building? No, we don't put it in a small building. Do we need a container? Yes, that's what we talked about. When I said container, I said your mom probably has many containers in the refrigerator. She keeps food in them. So we need a container for the rest of the food. Do we need a tomb? No, don't keep your food in a tomb. That's weird, okay? And church. Don't keep your food in a church. I mean, you might be able to eat food in a church, but that's kind of rude. Don't do that. They do eat one type of food in the church, but that's a long story. Anyway, so the best word is, of course, container. We need a container for the rest of the food. You need something to store your food in. That's a container. Okay, number 3. My uncle owns a jet airplane. Wow. The uncle is he has a lot of money. If he has a jet airplane, he has a lot of money. What do we say? A person who has a lot of money, he is so what? He is so architect? Doesn't make sense. That's not correct grammar anyway. He is so man-made? That's just silly. His mom and his dad made him? No, we don't say that. He is so rich because he owns a jet airplane. Like I said, that costs a lot of money. He is so handsome. That doesn't matter if he's handsome or ugly. If he owns a plane, anybody can own a plane. It doesn't matter what they look like. What matters is how much money they have. You need a lot of money to own a jet airplane. So he is so rich. Number 4, this new car is hard to beep. It is too big. Of course you don't drive, but if you have a small car is easy to drive. You can turn it very quickly. But a big car, it takes more power. Now when you're driving it, you have to steer it different places. You have to try to what? You have to understand your car? Oh, car, I understand you. No, we don't worry about that. It's a machine. We don't worry about understanding the car. We need to sit hard to sit. You sit your car. Sit car. No, that's strange. The car is just a machine. It's hard to control. Okay, that's the answer. Because a big car, right? You need a lot of power to turn it or to get it to go or to get it to stop. So that's the right answer. This new car is hard to control. It's too big. A big car is harder to control, not hard to look. So the answer is this car is hard to control. It is too big. Moving on, number 5, the toilet is broken. When we talked about this word, I talked about that. I said you have many pipes coming in your house and going out of your house. Your sink, your toilet. We need new, if the toilet is broken, if those pipes are broken, what do we call that system of pipes? If you remember, we called it plumbing. We need new plumbing. Not bulldozers, not containers, not churches. Plumbing. Plumbing is the system of pipes in your house that controls your sink, your toilet. That's about it in your house. Your shower. Okay. 6. Rob built a big what out of wooden blocks? He built what? He built a big something. He used wooden blocks to build it. It's probably a structure, because a structure is like a building. You don't build plumbing out of wooden blocks. Wood does not make for good plumbing, right? Because it doesn't hold water very well. It's very hard to shape wood. Built a big man-made, that's an adjective, not a noun. And dedication, that doesn't fit, that doesn't make sense. The best one, of course, is you build a structure. A structure, like I said, is a building. It could be a small building, it could be a large building. Okay, so he built a structure out of wooden blocks. Now, number 7, when my grandfather died, we built a what for his body? Remember, we talked about that. That was our first word. When somebody dies, people think, well, what to do with the body? I talked about 3 different ways. Grave, cremate, or what was the last one? The last one was tomb. When my grandfather died, we built a tomb for his body. And that's actually the only answer. Because you don't build a grave, you dig a grave. You don't build a cremate. That doesn't make sense. But a tomb is like a structure. So you build a structure, you build a tomb. So because of this, really the only possibility is tomb. Well, you wouldn't build a tunnel or an apartment for a dead body, right? You would build a tomb. Okay, number 8. The beep mountain isn't as big as a real mountain. So think about that. A real mountain, in this case, real can be natural. Okay, so what's the opposite of natural? The opposite of natural is man-made. Okay, so the man-made mountain isn't as big as a real mountain. If you think about it, people might make a mountain for some reason, part of the neighborhood, part of a park, but it's very difficult to make a mountain as big as a real or natural mountain, right? So the man-made mountain isn't as big as a real mountain. Okay, whew. That wraps up the vocabulary section of Lesson 2. Let's take a short break. We'll come back and take a look at the reading. Don't go away.